Welcome to episode 12 of Scraps of Reason. In this episode, we had the pleasure to speak with Robert Mulhern, musician and music journalist. We spoke on Irish language, creating arts, surveillance capitalism of the big tech, and the dangers of social engineering. In this very honest talk, we exchanged thoughts on the dangers of rabbit holes, being vulnerable online, and how we all fall into internet traps. Enjoy! Hi, welcome to Scraps of Reason podcast. Our today's guest is Robert Mulhern, a man of many talents, the founder of the bilingual band Tuach, formed in 2014, vocalist, guitarist, multi-instrumentalist, producer, videographer, engineer, also dedicated promoter and music marketer, journalist, who writes about the Irish music scene and publishes playlists featuring mostly music from the west of Ireland. You can find some of his articles on the Primal Music blog or on Not Bad. Also, as he says, self-described as extremely unqualified journalist. And now a quote, who likes to make psychotic videos taking the piss off what is to be a living organism on planet Earth. So welcome to Scraps of Reason.
Thanks for having me.
What an introduction. I'd love to be in like that one day.
Well, I'm not I don't claim to be good at any of those things.
That's the point.
Yeah, I think that the thing about you and your band in general and everything you do is that it's all, to me anyway, when I was trying to do some research and from what I know about you from social media and from when we met, it's all as free of pretense, and that's what's so actually, so likable, and that's probably what makes your music also so interesting. Anyway, you also describe yourself as an avid Gaeilgeoir. Is that right?
That's correct, yeah. It's correct in the Connemara sense of the word, or the Connemara pronunciation, yeah. Which is equally fine, yeah. Well done. Hello. Sorry.
How would you pronounce it differently?
Yes, Gaelic-or, I would pronounce it as.
Yeah, because I was searching online and that's the only pronunciation I found. Probably I was lazy, but I wouldn't even know which one to pick. So yeah, maybe start with this, because there is Gaeilgeoir, there is this negative connotation of that word, which I'm sure you're aware, because some people would say, oh, that means someone whose Gaeilgeoir is elitist, someone who's convinced that everyone in Ireland is obliged to speak Irish, and someone who looks down on those who don't. But I think your take is different from what I understand. You are more of an enthusiast.
Yes.
And I believe that's why you say that your band was partially formed because you wanted to create a vehicle to promote the Irish language. Yeah, can you comment on that?
Yeah, well, so at the beginning, I thought, okay, actually, I'll go back to the start, I suppose. So I was, my family were in Manchester, in England, for a long time, and they came back to Gweedore, and I was raised. Actually, I hated the language most of my life, and the reason I hated it so much was because it felt like I was being punished for speaking English and for not being good at the language, so I was discouraged massively. And in the institution, in the school, the way it is taught in school is actually okay. So it's interesting how it's taught in school in Gweedore, because the iteration or the version of the language that is taught from books in the school curriculum comes from the standard of Irish that was established in, I think, 1979, but or a little bit earlier than that. But I've come to understand that Catholics weren't even allowed to study in the university in which the language was standardized, which is Trinity. So our inflections and our use of accentuations and so on the lettering and the words in Gweedore is very confusing to me. So I myself I've trouble writing Irish because I don't know where to put the accents, because the way we speak Irish is so different to this artificially created Dublin Irish that, well, it's not artificial entirely, but it feels that way. And if you want to talk about elitism, there's a lot of middle class fashionistas using Irish in the middle class parts of Dublin as a form of status. So there's a lot of that shit about as well, and I think that's causing damage to the language. But anyway, that's a rant. I didn't mean to go on a rant.
You can go rant as much as you like, you know. No, but that's very interesting. Like, okay, so how long? Sorry. What age were you? You were born here, or were you born in Manchester?
I was born in Manchester, but I was only there for about 11 months of my life. So when I was an infant, so I don't remember it. Yeah. But
So you came to Donegal just around when you were around a year old.
Yeah. About then.
Okay. Sure. So yes, so that's you're trying to explain to us how this happened. That's from a hatred, it became a love. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, okay, yeah. So around, I left school, and there was no longer an authoritarian attitude towards the language all of a sudden, and then I went to do my third level education through Irish. I did film through Irish in Gweedore. There's a branch of NUIG in Gweedore that operates exclusively through Irish and does like 2 courses, and one of them is film. And I did that, and I slowly realized there that the language isn't authoritarian at all. It's actually quite the opposite in the way it's closer to Slavic in its well, I'm not saying Slavic is a language, obviously. You're Polish, you know. But the grammar.
What you mean, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, it's a different family of languages, but I know what you mean in this context. Yeah.
Yeah, well, as far as I know, the grammar is very similar, and I just find that with
phonetic,
Irish,
lots of. Yeah.
But I don't know, actually.
Yeah, phonetic. Lots of sounds that are in Irish that you can find also in Polish. That's why, you know, Polish children who emigrate, and even if they were raised for the first few years of their life in Polish, exclusively Polish-speaking homes, they still pick up the Irish very quick and very well on a phonetic level.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that at all.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, just get back to your story because that's very intriguing.
Right. I can't even remember where I was. Basically, yeah, so I don't know. I realized just that through not being forced to do it, I was much happier to learn it. And I realized that there's just a lot of ancient wisdom baked into the language. And basically, I realized that the British Empire destroyed it really, like this sowed the seeds of destruction so long ago. And it sort of destroyed like our identity in a lot of ways, and
Mm-hmm.
there's like, I'm not saying you're not Irish unless you speak the language, but I do think there should be some level of comprehension, and there should be. It would be great if the country was properly bilingual, but it's not. Like we're trailing behind in Europe. I don't know how many languages you speak, but I speak German as well to a degree, not very well, but I don't think I would have been able to do that if I wasn't taught Irish as well, because it was just easier for me to pick up the third language. Then, we suck at languages in this country.
I used to speak 3, but now I feel like I don't speak any. Like I feel
Which
like
one?
I'm
On that note of what you're saying,
Yes.
hello. I just wanted to mention I came to Ireland when I was 11 years old, and I came to Gidor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have to say that it was a very big cultural shock for me to find out that Irish is not the main language spoken. I mean, I kind of knew that before I came to Ireland, because somebody told me that English is the language that I will be learning, that I will be speaking in from now on in school and with other people. But I remember having this feeling of bewilderment that Irish is not a language that is spoken by everyone, at least to some extent. So I think it's very interesting what you're saying, that it's not about dividing people, like who's better and who's worse, because that's very dangerous, especially nowadays. But there is something to it when you mention that there is some deeper understanding on an identity level when you speak the language of your ancestors, I guess. Because so I think that's a very reasonable thing to say and to notice, and very valuable to talk about that as well. And that's coming from me, who I never one of the biggest regrets I have is that I never learned Irish, even though I went to the Gidor primary school, and I had a chance to go to the Gidor public school, but I had this very strange rebel time that completely, like, I shoot myself in the foot with that. Like, I wish somebody would just have shaken me out of that.
But that coincidence. That was, you were growing up. You were at the age when you actually have to rebel against something, and unfortunately, that's happened when you were to learn art.
So I guess I can sort of relate to you on that point a little bit.
Mm-hmm. But okay, so we established that this is not an elitist approach at all, but more of an approach of an enthusiast. And I understand that you're saying what Kasia just emphasized, that it would be great if most of the Irish citizens had some knowledge of Irish. What you think would be, like, I understand, like, you're doing your thing, okay? You're trying to promote the language through the work of music. And that's very valuable, and I will ask you to speak about that in a moment. But what you think, what can be done? Because, I mean, on a national level, when I arrived in Ireland, there was this very alive at the time program of bringing students from all over Ireland to Gidor, and they will remember that time. It's like, I don't know how long. That was a big investment. The government decided that this could be a good idea, and there was lots of Irish students. Yeah, I don't know how much of like how good that was, if that helped them. But
I think it
that
did.
was that was one of, and that stopped, because then the crash happened.
I don't think that stopped it. I think actually in Gidor it was different. Violence stopped it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I remember in Gidor the students were stopped coming there because I'm going to hedge a bet and say capitalism did it because some student got the shit kicked out of him, and I'm going to presume insurance costs were projected to be very high in future.
Okay.
And that's me speculating, but that's what I'm going to say. But I remember I remember the fight, and I remember the student getting the shit kicked out of them. It was those multiples, if I remember correctly, in 2007, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Oh, well, so you know what? I didn't do a research into this because I didn't know we're gonna get into this subject. But
well,
yeah,
you're grand.
Very interesting. I have to check that. Like my instinct was that, or maybe something happened to the grants. Maybe I don't know. Then when the crash came, lots of grants were taken away, so I was blaming that. But what's your idea to improve it on national level? Because I understand you do it through your music and you can do it through art. Do you have any suggestions?
Suggestions? I don't know. Like I stopped doing music exclusively through Irish because I was having sort of problems expressing myself through it for a while, and I didn't want to do anything that was ungenuine. So I've been working on an album, Moss Gaelic, now for about 4 years, and it's finally coming together. But that's only me. That's just me talking about myself. So my idea would be to, like, I have no fucking idea what to do about it. I think if you look at Iceland, the Icelandic language is disappearing very quickly because of the English influence over there, and you almost get mocked for speaking Irish in Ireland by people. Like, that's the level to which the American and British cultural colonialism has infected everything. Like, wherever prosperity through capitalism goes, so does the language of the system. And you can see it all over the internet, no? I don't know what to do. I'm just complaining. I don't have any solutions.
But that's really interesting. The approach that you have. That's true, because, as you said, you have no idea what to do about it, but you're doing it, and that can inspire other people. So, I guess your role in this is just the act of the act of literally doing the thing, speaking the language, creating in it, and being honest about it. As you said, you have you have a problem expressing your feelings through it sometimes, which is a very honest thing to say as well, and something that other people might feel as well, and they might feel that maybe in this rise, that maybe they shouldn't be saying that, which I think is a bit counterproductive. But that's exactly.
But that's very interesting what Kasia said. Sorry, that's very valuable, because she just said, like, okay, maybe you don't have a idea in your head or program or something you would suggest, but you are doing it. And often when it comes to languages in general, and with Irish language specific situation, but people are afraid of failure. And what you are saying, despite your difficulties at the beginning and even now, and your kind of unique relationship with the language because of your upbringing and then your own study of the language, all of that, yes, you are very honest about saying, like, sometimes it's too difficult, but still I'm trying to do it. Maybe everyone should. on some level, even if it's not working that well as the way we would like it to.
Yeah, it's important, I think, to challenge yourself, but that would be very presumptuous of me to expect that somebody in say in a poverty-stricken situation has enough time to learn the language, or people are being worked to death at the minute through mental illness and so on, and people often don't have time for the language, and also there's an unwritten agreement on planet Earth at the minute where everybody's agreed that we're going to be addicted to these crazy fucking social media manipulation engines, and that we've all just sort of agreed to let each other be addicted and to waste our time on these stupid fucking things all day. I think that's contributing.
You are right. Now we're gonna hello.
Huh?
Yeah, can you hear me? Sorry. Yes, we're gonna get to this. I just want to read I want to read some of the descriptions that I've gathered from different online pages and interviews and reviews of your music, just to those, because this is also for Polish audience, if some of my friends would like to listen to it or not. People who don't know you, I'm gonna obviously put some links at the bottom of the podcast so they can access your music. But just, this is a dive into unknown for me, and I'm gonna be completely honest. As you said in one of the interviews I read, to listen to your music for most of the listeners they have to bend or maybe redefine their listening paradigm, because this is a different kind of experience. So how you pronounce properly the name of the band, please? Can you tell us?
Tua.
Okay. I would like you to speak of the name. You told me when we met years ago, you were that was maybe a year after you formed the band, I think, and you were you were explaining to me the meaning of that, of the name of the band, and that was very interesting because there were a few different things there. If you like to maybe explain to those.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the word, I have no idea when the word was. I don't know how far back the word goes. The word over the years has meant multiple different things, but the thing I say to most people, because most people have watched Game of Thrones, is Tua can mean I don't know if you remember House Baratheon and House whatever. It sort of meant that, but in the context of Irish society. So the Irish Tuatha were sort of tribal organizations under Brehon law. And it went on to just literally mean the countryside. So that's what it means now. But it's meant, it just used to. So Fuin Tua means out in the wilderness, or out in the fields in the countryside. So in Gidor used to be Fuin Tua under the Tua. So I just called it that because it sort of had a vague meaning, and that's what I liked about the language. It sort of embodied this vague etymological variable thing, and
many which meet there, and they all make sense, as even makes sense as what you said, and as a tribe, as people are. The north countryside, everything. It's a very good name though. Anyway, so what I read about your music, and I made some notes. Pre-Christian tribal Celtic influences, shoegazy buzz, abrasive noise, roaming guitars, wall mat rock. I would like you to explain that to me later. Rich, someone wrote this is very nice. Rich interwoven Celtic tapestry, West Coast storm that adopts native heritage by invigorating the mother tongue. Also, space rock or experimental psych rock. At times noisy, nearly industrial post-punk, like and you pay your taxes. You also call it doomer metal.
Yes.
But I also a nostalgic and kind of poetic side and the mountains and grooves. So I would say is unpredictable on many levels, musically, and also you say you can't be bothered with metaphors, but yet you can find very poetic lyrics there. So yeah, would you like to tell us what humor metal means and what was their other thing that's Walmart rock? What's that?
I don't actually know what that is or who said that, but I think it's just easier to say post-punk because all of it'll just fit there somewhere. But doomer metal is a term I coined because it's a joke and it doesn't mean anything really. Doomers are a subsection of internet culture that are just a characterized mid-20s single man who's miserable about late-stage capitalism and
yeah, okay. Should do that. Post-punk doom metal. Yes.
And there's also a genre called doom metal, which is just slowed down Black Sabbath, basically. Let's call it that. So I just thought, why not combine the two?
That's good. That's fascinating. I really like that. So, can you tell us about your albums, the albums you released until now, or your digital tracks? What's the last one? Is a fucking?
That didn't come out because it was too miserable and the pandemic hit, and we just decided to retract it for a while because
I love the title though. I do was thinking about it a lot. I think it's like I don't know if there's a lot to think about, but I could because of my background in literature, I kind of can work on anything and so fucking I thought it was fantastic title.
Do you know what it means? Did you Google it on the Urban Dictionary?
No, I didn't. You tell me.
It's when things are going too well, something is going to come around the corner and fuck everything up.
I thought actually it was maybe coined by you or something. That's basically with internet there's nothing anymore original, but I mean I really I have the connotation with fucking awakening and things like that. I was thinking becoming more awake, the fact that we live we live in this everyday horror that's you basically describe and pay your taxes, everyday horror. What is it? Pay your taxes, and that's how it looks like the reality. You pay your taxes and you buy your cans, and that's you.
Yeah, basically.
That was expected. Yes. Can you talk about those two songs?
Can you go back there? Sorry, I couldn't hear you. There was a glitch.
Yeah, I was thinking that in those two songs, I'm but a poor man, but I have cans. What was the title exactly?
I was drunk.
Yeah. And the other one, Pay Your Taxes, they describe what is expected from us. Yes, maybe you can tell us about this.
They're just very cynical but honest, upfront. I don't know, descriptions. I just got it in my head because I was drunk. We had just played a gig in Galway, and I just realized that I was poor, but at least I had a can, and I think many other people feel the same way. So,
and I think the dozen power, however you want to think of dozen power, and they're happy with that as long as you pay your taxes.
Well, yeah, basically,
I pay your taxes during the day, drink your cans at the evening, and then wake up and do the same again. Yeah, because you seem to be through your music. You are a social activist, aren't you?
Not as much as I should be.
You don't like the pretense, but yeah.
No, well, I used to be a lot more active, and I plan on being more active soon. I have to get my own shit together first, you know. So.
Dr. Peterson is talking through you. We can go that in a minute too. No, but I can see this activist side and your music. This is so unpredictable. There's so many things happening. What about the pay your taxes record? Can you elaborate?
Yeah, I just again I was really drunk one night, and I came to the conclusion that it's almost, there's a pervasive air of I don't know, it's almost like somebody from the underworld is just shouting at you to pay your taxes. But the real reason I sort of like, I kept reading the news about Apple being in Ireland and not paying any tax, and the EU telling us to make them pay tax, but our government sort of not making them pay tax and putting austerity measures in Ireland, and then picking and choosing to allow the water charges to come in because the EU told us to do that, but arguing with the EU about Apple's corporation tax. And it just seems like they don't care, and they're doing it on purpose, and that there is no real democracy, because that's the type of thing that should be put up to a vote in this country, and it's not. And we're just being told to just pay our taxes and shut the fuck up. So that's kind of why that was written. It's sort of like a scream into a pillow that everybody's agreed to just scream into this big pillow. And I just thought, I don't know, do you kind of
collective pillow of tears? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's just sort of like, I don't know, I'm trying to regurgitate what I wish the government would just come out with it and just say pay your taxes instead of anything else or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, you say this is homage to being John Malkovich?
Oh yeah. So that was sort of
about that, because that's so interesting.
Have you seen that film? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like when he eventually just cracked because he was in this uncontrollable environment where everybody was just him. He just screamed. All he could think of was screaming his own name. Well, I think those are the kind of conditions we're in now, and that's sort of how I felt when I initially just screamed those words originally, and just put it to music, and then it just turned into a nihilistic, cynical fucking thing. So that's what it. Yeah. So there you go.
I feel like that too. You know, I think most of it does. So it's kind of universal.
Yeah.
Now you say no metaphors, but then you write with some help,
yes,
grooves, which I find that is a beautiful erotic.
Yeah,
it's nostalgic. Love poem, which can be probably, interpret on different levels, obviously.
Yes.
I thought of it like also, I see it's explicit at times, but then I think, it's an erotic, but it has this I can read it as a love poem to Ireland or to the language, or even if it's, as you say, subtle and unsubtle at the same time, as you told me. You can find different meanings there. When I started listening to it and then reading the lyrics,
Yes.
I thought, you can read it as something something that was written about the beauty of the country as well, and the almost erotic relationship with it.
Oh my God.
Or language. So maybe that's the subconscious. I don't know. My God.
Freudian slip there a little bit.
I don't know.
Did that scare you? Because maybe I went too far with that interpretation.
I don't know. I think that was I have to admit. So Ashley, the other guy in the band, he wrote the guitars for that. He doesn't even play the guitar in the band, so that was sort of his first sort of musical creation for it. And then I got my girlfriend Jude from the band Lunch Machine in to sing, and we just wrote this sort of as a joke, and but also was a semi-sincere joke, and we just really liked it, and we I don't know, it was a very sunny day, I think, when we wrote it, and I think the sun is reflected in it. I think there is no metaphor for the
There is in the video as well, the sun is reflected, and there's like a nostalgia for a summer, which is a recurring theme in Ireland, because we are always nostalgic for a summer.
Oh. Yeah.
But it's a beautiful exploration of nature, and it's intimate, and yes, and it's good to hear that. Yes, good to hear. I mean, it's very nice that your girlfriend was involved, and it is a beautiful piece. I mean, more traditional. It doesn't mean, it's more like traditional in a sense that the lyrics are more poetic, and it's different to your other work.
Oh yeah, well, she wrote 70% of the lyrics. Actually, I was having problems in general with the lyrics. I think that's what I did, and then she wrote off the theme. She's far better at writing lyrics than I am, and I would say, and much more coherent as a writer in general. So fair play to her for that.
That's a very good thing. I will include that in the description somewhere, because I think it's a fine piece of poetry.
Yes, it is. Fair play to her.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's talk about your experiences with the marketing and what you wrote in your recent article, which you posted on Facebook, and I think it's a very good one. Can we speak about that?
Yeah. What specifically though? There's so much in that. There's a lot I omitted as well, actually, that I didn't want to include unless I was able to speak about it. But I'm not sure I want to speak about it unless I'm on video as well. I don't know.
You didn't include, yeah?
There are some things that didn't include because I think they're a bit dangerous to include them.
Yeah, okay. I don't want to bring that up, but the other things, like, could you just tell us very quickly what were your experiences, how you got into marketing, and what did you notice?
Oh yeah, well, okay. So when I didn't really so marketing sort of it's sort of becoming the only game in town for anyone who wants to be able to survive outside of, or if you want to survive in any way through art or any service in general that isn't the usual beaten path, you need to be able to market yourself. Hello? Am I gone?
We lost you at if anyone want to survive through
Okay,
art.
I can go again. Yeah, so basically I had to learn marketing, or I was marketing is sort of the only way you can promote yourself, really, no matter what it is you're doing. But digital marketing now is becoming more and more pervasive as things have shifted online. And basically I just prepared for that, and as a result I've been working as a marketer for multiple companies about the country, and myself and bands and so on.
Okay.
But what I learned about it is, there's so much that marketing has been used for, like, yourself, marketing is it's got some evil, it's been used for evil over the years, but now it's evil in a way that is just incomprehensibly huge. Like,
Yes.
I don't claim to understand it more than I do, but if you look at the Cambridge Analytica scandal, for instance, it's the way that that people were manipulated into voting for things that they wouldn't they manipulated 30% more people in Britain into voting that never voted in their lives to vote for Brexit, through filling them with hate and so on and so forth. So I think that was just crazy to me. Like, I don't support, like, I think the EU is good in some way, but I would be all for a left-wing exit of the EU. But I don't know. If I said that when Brexit was being lobbied for, I'd probably have been shot. I just,
No, but you're saying these are controversial things, and I just don't find them controversial anymore. Like, I think it's something we should be discussing in general, like, and the social engineering, the hacking. And you said something interesting in that article. I will maybe share that article, but there's lots of things. I understand you just rather not to speak in detail because but you said something general. You said that there's a quotation: angry people are very easy to be used and filled up with bullshit, which is such a true statement. And that's important to look at ourselves, because most of us are angry for one reason or another, social injustice, and it's very easy to that can be used against us and against others. And you're talking about this in different contexts, but do you want to say something?
Well, yeah, okay, so I can't remember what stage I was at when I was actively consuming just all sorts of shit, looking for meaning. I think because my best friend died, right? And then I started watching lots and lots of Jordan Peterson videos, and at the start it was innocuous, but then the marketing algorithms within YouTube started displaying to me more and more extreme things that came from Jordan Peterson's free speech thing, which was fake to begin with and misleading because he lied. He could have not lied, but anyway, the freedom of speech thing became a right-wing talking point, which was previously a left-wing talking point.
Yeah, irony. Mm-hmm.
The irony is huge. And then, of course, there's this really toxic YouTuber called Black Pigeon Speaks, and I watched him for a while, and Jesus Christ, I remember, okay, I said I wouldn't talk about it, but I'm going to say it to fuck, because okay, so I was on a train in London.
Not that wide, so you're kind of safe. It's a safe corner of the internet. Okay.
Well, I think it's just important. I think I left it out of the article, but it's the thing that made me seriously consider what, the phrase "you are what you eat." This YouTuber Black Pigeon Speaks. He talks about the societal homogeneity of Japan, and he uses it as an example to basically call anybody who isn't part of your homogenous native country a savage, basically, which is.
Oh.
And I found myself in London on a train, utterly terrified of brown people and people who were wearing burqas and so on, and I was judging all these people around me, scared that I was going to get blown up, and I decided, holy fuck, and this was in 2017, like, I realized, like, my paranoia and anxiety at this point was just crazy, so I just cut off all of that shit off of YouTube, and because it was making me more and more angry and furious the more of it I watched, and then I got more and more afraid and more, you know, even considering these white ethno-state ideas. I thought, well, why not have an island for white people? It's like, hold the fucking, like, what? It's crazy, like, so yeah. So I had to.
It's good that you speak from that's why it's so valuable, because you know you speak from your own experience and you're saying, like, yes, if you are in a vulnerable place emotionally, and we all are there at some point, and like I have to say, I've been in the net in different places. I also was watching everything of Jordan Peterson. I think we spoke about it once on the chat on Facebook. Like, you know, you can get very easily just kind of
sucked into it.
Yes, and then it's becoming your world, and if you are in a vulnerable place mentally, and it can really feed all those, you know, all the dark places in your mind. It's very, and you talk in this article also about this, how you manage to come out of this so-called rabbit hole or bubble.
Well, yeah, you know, that incident in London when I went to see Primus, I don't know if you know Primus, but I love them, but I went over there and came out of it just sort of really shaken, and I was happy, obviously, because I saw Primus, but I had to think a lot. And it was around that time I started learning marketing in general, and I started to realize the different parts of propaganda and how they are, like, at the beginning it seems innocuous because, you know, Jordan Peterson does lectures on like religious meaning and stuff, and I think maybe he should just fucking do that because like, you know, and maybe he should shut up about politics. But you know, he in that like there, if there weren't algorithms showing directing you to another video after another video, directing you down a rabbit hole, maybe Jordan Peterson wouldn't be so dangerous, and maybe people flocking to him and defending him in comment sections wouldn't be so dangerous, because he wouldn't be growing along with the crowd.
I think that actually probably the case with many people, because he's been, I don't know, Jordan Peterson is a completely different subject. Like I would have to probably sit and think and make notes, because there's so much to say, and my relationship, if I can call it like that, with Jordan Peterson family is, Kasia once asked me why I'm obsessed with his daughter. So it's like, yes, I am. I have reasons, you know. But there's so much happening there, and like, I don't want to be apologetic about Jordan Peterson. I think, and at some level, at the very beginning, like, yes, as you say, he should shut up about particular subjects. He is not qualified to speak about them. Yeah. He has knowledge in particular field, and maybe he's even good in his own field, because through that field you can see he has some empathy, but then he believes that having knowledge in that field gives him the right to speak about things that he doesn't really understand, to be honest.
Exactly.
Like, you know, I don't have much knowledge either about Russian literature, but I had some insight through my courses, through my degrees and all the readings I've done. And sometimes when I listen to his approach as a very immature, it's like someone read 2 books and is trying to elaborate on general things.
Isn't that completely like the poster image of what an internet scholar is? By that I mean a person that's read a few articles and becomes a specialist, in the field, and that very lack of desire to pursue the subjects to even to uncomfortable degree, anything that basically can create a dissonance. It's just it was bound to happen, like from the very beginning of his whole story. It was bound to happen, and then it happened and it blew up. And I mean, I just wanted to say that it's brilliant that you actually decided to speak about this, what you said, because again, you've noticed a certain process happening.
Yeah.
With
and
you.
A lot of people have come forward and said so. Huh?
Yeah, you've noticed that process, and speaking about it again, and I see a link with the what we were talking about when we were speaking about the Irish language, is that showing your vulnerability connects you with other people that may have the same problem, and on a big level, to a smaller or larger extent, we all might have feelings about things that we don't feel very proud of.
Yeah.
And not being able to kind of talk about it in a very human, natural way. It disconnects us again. It creates a disconnect that can be very dangerous, and that's how people. I'm theorizing that's how people may be falling into those traps, and that it's not exactly a personal failure as a human being, but something more sinister at play, as you notice again the process. And you, by speaking about it, by being so natural about it, you are kind of taking away the boogeyman out of it, which again is very valuable. It's very, very valuable.
That's thank you for observing that. Yeah, I'm sort of in a way being deliberately exhibitionist about it, because I realized that is sort of a part of the problem, is people
deliberately exhibitionist. That's a great descriptor you can use. That is not always very appropriate, but in this context it definitely is. It's exactly what it should be.
Yeah, like I think a lot of people are ashamed of being
human.
Yeah, I think that comes with the Catholic guilt in this country, but I find as well people are afraid of admitting that they're wrong. And
big time.
Yeah.
Thing, like, and the further
you can start again. You were saying something about Jordan Peterson being vulnerable.
Yes, I'm saying, like, when he was vulnerable, I was hoping that he's gonna take the mask off and eventually say things to us as a human. But now then his daughter came into the picture and things become even more sinister, and that's what you're saying. People are afraid of, and especially when big money are involved, people are afraid of wrong. Being wrong. Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what I think as well. The meat diet and everything, all that crazy shit that she seems to be promoting under the family brand name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she did that. Yeah, she had the opportunity to become kind of celebrity through her father, and and that was the only thing she had going on for her. I don't want to discredit her in any way. Like, I mean, that she used it and she used it in a clever way. I mean, but it's very dodgy, and I don't know, like, it's kind of, did you actually, sorry, because I just got into this topic and this is one of my favorites. I have to come out of it as soon as I can. Did you watch maybe an interview with his wife recently?
No, I did not.
Yeah, so there is more happening if you want to look at that. Michaela actually interviewed her mother, and then she went on several podcasts, and it's another side of madness. Anyway, I was astonished. I still don't know what's going on. I can't put it all together, but it all falls together into something quite dark, and I'm following them because I want to see, I don't wish them bad, but I want to see their human side, and that day when Jordan Peterson, because I think he has some conscious side, and he's gonna speak up about the truth. Anyway, I don't know, that's stupid what I said, very idealistic. Are you idealist?
Oh God, no. I got
because you said in one of the things I read that you were talking about the quest for truth, and I thought, like, okay, okay.
The quest for truth. I don't know. No, well, like, I just think. What do you mean?
I don't know. You said that. But, yes, of course, I should bring the context up.
Yeah.
You were saying that basically, what happens is that the big tech distorts our view of the world, of ourselves, dictates our culture, and obscures the real quest for truth. I had a idealist vibe here, and although, I know what you mean on other levels, but yeah, that's where the question comes from.
What I mean there is on a very technical level, actually, more of a, like, literally the way we through, like, and what. So when we speak over the internet, there's no eye contact. When we text over the internet, you have to remember that a lot of people are using communications devices that have a keyboard app built into them, and on that keyboard app, everything you input is being sent back to either Google or Apple, and it learns your typing habits, suggests words to you based off of everything you've ever typed on your device and previous devices. So it's profiling everything you have said and are going to say. So before you've even written anything to anybody or communicated, you're being fed things that you're going to gravitate towards, to sort of turning your very thought process of writing into a bubble already. And then when you go onto the internet to say something, you're curating your image based on this, based on whether or not you're going to get cancelled. So you have to filter that out first before you even get to what you're going to say. So, and then when you are saying it, you want to say something that is attractive to people who are going to press a like button. So through all these various steps, before you've even said what you're going to say, you've curated what you've said on multiple levels before you've even factored in free speech and consequences and truth. So literally, technology is robbing a lot of our humanity in that regard alone. And also we say things to people that we wouldn't say to their faces, which I think is interesting and fucked up.
I see now what you mean when you said that you'd prefer to voice certain thoughts that you have on a video.
Yes.
Before, I see now what you mean, and that's a very good point. Because it's not all doom and gloom at the end of the day. Like, you, instead of writing it down in a Facebook post, or, again, thank you for sharing it on the podcast, but I can see that you may feel that it's missing that human touch, which is literally eye contact and micro expressions and you can make a video and you're seeing, we spoke about YouTube, how dangerous that can be as well. So I guess it's a double-edged sword here, but I can see that in your particular situation that you wanted that to be a visual thing, which I understand now. I just wanted to say that you kind of opened that up for me.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it's easy to be mischaracterized. That's something Jaron Lanier points out in his book, 10 Arguments for Social Media, or Deleting Your Social Media. He talks about how context is being obliterated online, and I hate to bolster up Jordan Peterson, but he's very right when he says context is extremely important. I know other people have probably said that, but he's
that's the thing. Like, he just got a platform. That's I'm not gonna go there.
Yeah, context is extremely important. That's for sure. Yes. Okay, so that's the dark side.
Yeah.
Is there any bright side?
For me, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm holding.
Although our online life, like we live on internet, especially in the past year.
I'm looking at the book Capitalist Realism. Is There No Alternative by Mark Fisher. I got it in the post yesterday. And I hope that answers the question. I don't know if you're aware of it, but Mr. Zizek is a big fan of this book.
I was going to talk about Zizek when we spoke about Peterson, but I think we have to close that subject. No, I don't know that book. I might get it. So yes, okay. Now,
I'll just mention something again. As you say that you don't know, like, is there something like a way to? It's very similar to the question is about Irish language again. Like, is there anything that you think should be done? And again, as we spoke about it earlier, you don't know, but you are doing it. And again, that's what you're doing here right now too. By you don't know, but you're being vulnerable and you're doing it basically. And that's exactly what I think is what we need. Like with something so unprecedented as the way internet just grows and becomes a part of us. Like, there's sometimes maybe it's fair to say that maybe there is no time to create a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 point kind of way of how to deal with it. But as we're striving to come up with something, the value lies in the doers and people that are speaking about it, about their experience the way you are. And again, I'm noticing the parallel here, and it's very valuable. Again,
thanks. I don't like. I'm just some fucking guy. Like, I don't like in a small part of a small island. I don't really like. I read a solution in that book I referenced, 10 Arguments for Deleting Your Social Media. There's one solution that I don't even think is adequate, but it's a start, and it is, if instead people are shown ads to pay for everything, we should just pay for our social medias. It just seems logical that, like, the cost of convenience on an internet and worldwide internet-based scale, the cost of convenience is huge. Like, if we're to use social media, our data has been stolen and we're being manipulated. But if we were to pay for it, then that wouldn't have to happen. So that would be a start. But the idea of us doing that now, while the people who already have the data are using it to exponentially grow the profits from the data. They're wanting to keep that. So the actual struggle now is that seems to be the struggle now. Like, how do we get people to actually pay for things again? Like, the cost of TVs have come down because companies that make TVs have made deals with Netflix, for example. So Netflix will share their data with, say, Samsung, for example, so that Samsung will keep the costs down. You know, all of this is it's called surveillance capitalism. It's the new frontier. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't mean to insult either of you. You might know that. I don't know. I'm just saying it in case you don't.
You're not. You're learning.
Well,
honestly, like we don't know much.
you
said
fucking multiple degrees. No,
I have degrees. Degrees. I don't even know where all this is stored. I can't find that. Anyway, somewhere, but in a corner somewhere. You said, Kasia, that about the time, we don't have the time, and you mentioned, Robert, something in the recent article that's pointing out the fact that working class has no time for nuances. And you gave there an example of the transculture. I found that very interesting because it's obvious in a way, but at the same time, you are pointing out to something that's so important to realize. That's how all this happening. How some people seem to be easily falling into the rabbit hole. Yes, because they don't have time for their own research. Never mind intellectual resources. I don't want to insult anyone, but I mean, even if you have those, you don't have the time, or you're exhausted, or you're a housewife, or you're working in a factory, and there is there is basically the two. You are giving something from the left, which you say the left always answers questions, and when they answer questions, they are elaborate, and it takes time for them to answer question, and that's not easy to remember or digest. Whereas right answers questions in a way that's so easy to follow, and it becomes a mantra, and people who have no time or energy will take that.
Well, we do, but we don't have enough of it. The right also, they make the headlines really small and emotionally based, in order to make people angry and reactive. You know, very interesting. It's very insidious and very. So I don't know that. That's why it's aimed at changing the way, because they don't have much time to think, and so on.
By saying, I was gonna specify. By saying that there isn't much time, I didn't mean that we're running out of time before something bad happens. I mean that it's all evolving so quickly that it's just coming up with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You're wrapping up.
Yeah.
And do you want to say something about your band in general? We never mention any other members, so if you maybe would like to say a few words about them and about your upcoming projects, and
shit, I don't like so. I don't know what you want me to say specifically. Like, I'm very ignorant that way. There's three other members in Tua. I'm in another band. I'm in two other bands actually. Well, two projects. I'm in a band called Lunch Machine with my girlfriend Jude, which is a much more fun band and has a lot more positivity about it. And
you need that to, counterbalance. Yeah,
of course.
Good to hear.
And I'm in a Gaelic rap band with my friend Seamus called Crace, Craos, which means a gluttonous thing, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, so the other members of the band are Ashley Mobasser. He's a chap from Mayo. He's a good friend of mine. He plays the sax and synths, and he does a lot of visuals now as well. He's really good. He's down in Mayo at the moment, though. We work in a decentralized way, where we like our bass player is in Scotland at the minute, and he'll be back soon. But he's Matthew. His name is, a very young, handsome chap. He's 23, and our Paul, our drummer, he's an engineer. He's a computer engineer. He's very good. He's an astounding drummer. We haven't actually carted him out in front of the internet yet. We've been saving that for a while. We recorded a performance in September that we're going to put up online soon. It was just before lockdown came in, so we were only partially breaking the rules at the time, but we were going crazy. So, that's the other thing. I don't judge anybody for. It's impossible not to break the rules on some level because the rules are so confusing at the minute. I don't judge anybody for that. Anyway, I'll not get into that. But
we don't judge you either.
Thanks.
We are glad that you're making stuff, like producing music, doing art, and you have that. So that's kind of something that saves from insanity. I wish I had a better relationship with art, and I'm trying to write, but I wouldn't say it's anything that's as good. It's
what are you writing?
Oh, gosh, what am I writing? I'm writing, can say, poems. Yeah, poetry. It's yeah, sometimes it's better, sometimes it's not too good. Anyway, I'm not afraid.
It's very good.
Yeah, sure, I want Kasia to say that to make me feel better. But sometimes
and keep deflating. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that's you're definitely becoming more and more Irish as the day goes by, with the self-depreciation and the I'm sorry.
No, but I don't. Oh, that's a Polish thing as well. So probably
Catholicism.
the best way to emigrate with people like that. Yeah. Anyways, it was a great pleasure talking to you.
You too.
And
thank you very much.
Really appreciate that you came on the podcast. And yes, we're gonna be saying goodbyes. So good luck with all your projects and your journalism as well. I think you are writing good pieces and informative, and most mainly that's what's important, that your agenda is just to inform people, and you are so honest, and I really appreciate that.
Thank you very much. Okay.
So, Kasia, do you want to say goodbyes?
Well, thank you for your honesty. I think that's where the power lies, to kind of again show our vulnerability in general, and that it's not necessarily a failure of character or of morals or anything. It's just the way things are.
Yeah.
For many people, and that's very normal and very. Again, I'm going to stop using this word for another month after this again, but it's very valuable. That's the last time I'm using that word.
Okay, guys.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Good
luck. Hopefully we speak soon at some point.
Yes,
Take care.
Let me know when Gerard is on as well. I can't wait to listen to Mr. Gerard.
He agreed to come on the podcast. Due just to personal reasons, we had to postpone it.
That's fine.
But I'm hoping to do it next week.
Brilliant.
So I will definitely let you know. I'm sure it's gonna be extremely interesting conversation.
Oh, it definitely will be.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
Exciting times ahead.
Bye. Thanks. Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.